Hello, this is Neil from mypaintgirls.com. Visit the website in the description for more free tutorials. A lot of tutorials I have are actually in real time. The Let's Draws aren't actually tutorials. They're just kind of like sped up drawings with my commentary. So what I was trying to go for with this Xena drawing is I wanted her to have. I wasn't sure what outfit to do at first, but I decided to go with the Japanese outfit that she wears in the last episode. It's kind of a cool outfit. And so what I'm trying to do here in my initial really rough sketching phase, which only takes a couple minutes, is I'm trying to establish movement. I have an idea in my head because I wanted her to have this kind of powerful pose, like I'm gonna kick people's ass. So that's the kind of pose I wanted her to have. I'm gonna kick people's ass pose. And so in order to achieve that, I'm thinking I want a lot of movement, and so I thought her arms and shoulders kind of pulled back and arms kind of almost like flexed, would be kind of cool. I want her holding her cool weapon, and I was going to do the one with the S, but the S in the middle, but I couldn't figure out how to make her hold it right to where it looked cool and powerful, so I went with this, with her older one. And so I'm just working out, where everything's going to be, her legs and everything, proportions, whatnot, and I can already see a lot of mistakes. Then after that, I go over it again, trace over it again, and now I'm using a big pen. And so what I do now is I just kind of correct all the mistakes I see. I shorten her face; it was too long. Put some couple straight lines in there so I know, where I want the shoulders to be and everything, so that they match up. And just going through making all little correction with proportions and everything. I know I need a lot of foreshortening with her stomach because it's kind of receding away from us since we're kind of looking down at her. And foreshortening is always a bitch, but if you just keep doing it a couple times, eventually you'll get what looks good or something that looks fine. What's funny is sometimes if you look at a photo or something for a reference, the photo might look fine, but if you try to match it without doing all the intricate shading that's in the photo, the foreshortening won't look right. And so sometimes when you're drawing comic book, you have to do certain tricks that are known in the with drawing cartoons and stuff or comics, and you have to just use those techniques because they work better for something without a lot of shading. And comics, typically don't have a lot of shading, not like really realistic at least. So on this sketching phase, I'm adding a lot of detail and I'm putting in her clothes and everything. But notice that I'm not spending much time on it. I'm just I want to make sure everything kind of is where it needs to be. I'm not worried about all the little details in her costume and stuff. I add that in the final drawing stage. But I do want all the major lines to be in there, so when I trace over, I know where everything needs to be, so I don't have to think anymore. So then on the final drawing stage, there's really no thinking involved. It's just a matter of adding all the details and stuff. But the first initial sketching phases is where you're doing most of your thinking. And for hair and stuff, I just kind of throw down some quick sloppy lines just for I have something to follow. Make sure that it's in the right area and everything. I like the way it looks. So I'm just about done with this initial sketching phase here. And even though this looks really sloppy, everything's pretty much where it needs to be. So I don't really have to do much thinking. Now I don't know why I did this. When I typed rough, for some reason I put a P. I'm like, what the hell? So anyway, there's the G. Right, so now I'm on the final stage. Now I get out my .5 soft lead mechanical pencil. You can pick these up at pretty much any store. You don't have to go to an art store. You can probably go to Office Depot or something, or you can go to art store. It doesn't matter. Just pick up some soft lead .5 pencil. Just test it before you buy it. Maybe draw on a piece of paper. Make sure you get nice dark lines with it. Then you have soft lead. If it's hard to get dark lines, you have hard lead. You shouldn't have to push that hard either on soft lead. So you can just test it out and make sure you have the kind of lead you want. Or go to an art store and say, hey, I want soft lead .5. I recommend working with .5 for all the little tiny details. And then you might want to get a larger one, like a .7, just for thicker lines, or use a clutch pencil, which I go in to add some of my final shading lines at the end of this one here. With the hair, when you're doing with pencil, you kind of imagine ahead of time, where the highlights are going to be. That way you know what not to color. And that went by so fast. What I'm doing is I'm flipping the paper up to look underneath at the sketch I have underneath, because some of the things I can't see too well. What I should have done probably is turned my Cintiq on full brightness and had like a white background with Notepad or something, and then use it as a light board. But I can pretty much see through this pretty good with with the pen. So that's another reason why I'm working with pen on my initial sketches, for I can see through it when I trace. You can also do it all on one piece of paper. Just use like hard lead in your initial sketching. That way the sketches stay light, and you just keep doing that, working, erasing, working, erasing. Some people like to work that way, and sometimes it is fast to work that way too. So you just use like a kneaded eraser and just erase the parts you don't like, and then go over and go over until you finally get what you want, and then you bust out your hard lead. But if I did it that way, you guys wouldn't be able to see what's on the screen. So I'm using the pen, even though it wastes more paper and it's a little bit slower process. At least you guys can see the sketching and everything. So also, once I start working with a pencil, first I lay down a smooth light line, then I go over that line like one or two, three times, and I push hard, the last couple times. That way I have a nice, smooth, hard line where I want it. And just be careful that when you're doing your line work, that you're doing full strokes. You're not doing tiny little strokes. Like if I'm doing that stroke for her butt, for example, you don't do like a bunch of little strokes to make the one long, the one butt stroke. You do the one stroke, with one movement. So you don't lift your pencil off the paper. You just flow across and make that full, confident stroke, and then go over it a few times to make it as thick or as dark as you want. Finally, I go over it with smudge stick to add all the shading, and I do a simple shading, especially since it's so small, just so the light's coming kind of from the top and from the right. So I just kind of shade it accordingly, paying attention to the different parts of the body and the lumps and bumps and everything. Right, so that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. In the last video, the Jean Grey video, you guys gave me a lot of advice on people to draw, and the people that whatever you guys say the most, that's what I'm probably going to be drawing next. So everyone respond to this video in the comments and tell me again what you want me to draw, and then I'll compare this comments with the last comments and see what person has the most votes. What character has the most votes. There was like Power Girl was a cool one to do and stuff like that. So anyway, who do you want to see drawn? And as long as that person is mentioned the most, that's the person I'll probably end up doing next. Right, thank you for watching. Go ahead and let me know. Appreciate it.